Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Welcome back again, and nice to have you here. I enjoy your comments and the suggestion on the videos, and I appreciate the sharing you do with friends and family member. Thank you again for coming back. So let's get started for today's news and Concerned Citizens Media comment. Here are the news and Concerned Citizens Media comment for June 3rd, 2021. Ethiopian Government Security Forces killed 4, injured 2, and burned down more than 50 residential homes in Horoguduru Zone, Lamicha Village, Walaga, Oromia region. The names of those killed are provided to the media as Mr. Urgesa Lemma, 50 years old, Takale Gobana, no age given, Getane Balai, 16 years old, and Lemmi, no further name provided. These government forces denied families and relatives' requests for proper burial for those killed. The Ethiopian government uses government official military forces, federal police, Amara special militia, Eritrean defense forces, and others to cause maximum pain, sufferings, death, and destructions on Oromos in Oromia. The Ethiopian government also blocks internet, phone, and other communication services to cover up its criminal operations against the residents in the region. Oromia Media Network reported on this news, citing first-hand witness accounts. So the horrible thing is denying the family to have proper burial after they kill the family member. So this is a very tough one, very tough situations, and they're just happening again and again in Oromia region. Teenagers, senior citizens, girls, moms, just killed by Ethiopian government security forces for no reason. No reason. They are not supposed to die. They are not fighting with enemy or foreign enemy. This is the government try to just apply forces for no reason on its own citizens. So we denounce it with the strongest terms, and it should be stopped. It should be stopped. No reason. You don't have to kill people on their own village. Ethiopian government start implementing its anti-terror law that it rashly approved through its defective parliament last month. Tigrayans, business and property owners accused of supporting Tigray People's Liberation Front or TPLF hit with their bank account freeze. 19 individuals with the Tigrayan region origin impacted with this government's illegal account freeze operations. Some of the names provided to the media include the following former senior TPLF military officials. I will read the names. These are very senior former TPLF officials. 1. Lieutenant General Taddessa Warada. 2. Lieutenant Fisaha Kidani. 3. Major General Ababa Taklhaimanot. 4. Major General Halafon Ijigu. 5. Major General Tasfai Gidey. 6. Brigadier General Haile Selassie Girmay. 7. Brigadier General Magbay Hailu. 8. Brigadier General Teklai Asheber. So these are the names from the 19 people from the Tigray region, or TPLF, believed to be TPLF supporters by the government, and they give these 8 senior TPLF former officials names, and their account is frozen, and the government accused them supporting TPLF. The Ethiopian government also frozen the bank accounts of 141 Oromo business and property owners just by blacklisting them as Onek Shane supporters. The lists of these Oromo business and property owners are not provided. The Ethiopian government is losing huge financial aid from the United States and the European countries. So, as a survival, so as a so as the survival mechanism, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is using the excuse of anti-terror designation to rob his own citizens' business and financial assets. This is another grave violation of human rights in the country, and the global community should pay serious attention and do something to restrain the government, the Ethiopian government, from stripping citizens' rights of business or property ownership in the country. So, as you remember, we reported on it, the rush anti-terror law through the parliament quickly, just last month, because now they're using it to rob their own citizens, just by blaming them. You are, supporting terrorism, so we take your property. That's why it's happening now. And the financial aid they lost from United States and Europe, they want to cover it up by robbing, their own citizens. And this is a criminal act. This is a legal act. This is a grave human right violation. They are violating the citizens' ownership of property and the businesses. So the whole world should pay attention and should condemn it and do something to stop it, including the Ethiopians. Those who are not supporting Prosperity Party. Those who are supporting Prosperity Party, they don't care. They grab everything they have, whatever they get from their citizens, including killing their own citizens. So this is a crime, and that law shouldn't be approved, but the parliament, with only one lady's vote absent, all of them voted for it without question, without discussion. Now it's impacting Ethiopian citizens, especially is not from Amara, is not from South. The target is Oromos and the Tigrayans. They use it as a tool to rob their own citizens. So more than 6,000 children separated from their parents due to Tigray region's war, UNICEF reported. The agency also said more children could be in a dire need of assistance in the areas inaccessible by the agency in the region. UNICEF also said that lack of accommodations, lack of volunteer workers, insecurity, and a lack of communication made it difficult the process of joining parents with their children. Meanwhile, the United Nations warned that more than 90% Tigrayans in need of urgent humanitarian assistance and the $203 million is urgently needed from international donors to handle this crisis in the region. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, the so-called law and order operation in the Tigray region created endless war and unimaginable misery to the Tigrayan people. The Ethiopian government continues its defense against the international calls for ceasefire in the region. So the Americans, the European Union, they asked for ceasefire and they call for dialogue to settle the issue, but the Ethiopian government refused and continued the war. The war is still going on, never completed, even is expanding. More people are joining TPLF to fight against Abiy Ahmed policies. So more destruction, more killing, and more atrocities continue to happen in the Tigray region until the government listens to Ethiopians and to the global community to fix this problem, to fix endless war in that country. So his claim about the perfect operation of law and order is false. The casualties are mounting. The destruction is unimaginable. The looting is unimaginable. The looting of the hospitals, the destruction of schools, other factories, individual properties, public properties. Really is horrible to see what happened. So it looks like the war between different countries, not by the conflict between the government and the region. No, it's very tough one. There is no law of conduct. So it must stop. It must end, and Ethiopians cannot afford to continue the war. The United States Embassy in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, released a statement clarifying confusion and misleading information about U.S. visa restrictions on Ethiopia. The embassy statement said the U.S. visa restriction applies to former and current Ethiopian government officials and the Amara Special Forces who have hands in the Tigray region crisis. The U.S. Embassy in Ethiopia is open for visa and other services related to tourism, education, business, health-related travel, cultural exchange, and others. The embassy's door is open for all Ethiopians who have nothing to do with the Tigray region's grave human rights violations. So the embassy clarifies the confusion probably created by Prosperity Party supporters. The American embassy, shut down the office for all kind of visa requests. No, that is false. The embassy clearly stated that the visa and other restrictions is only for the current and former government officials who have something to do with Tigray region war crime, genocide, and other grave human rights violations. Decline of confidence in Ethiopia requires quarter mediation, Sudan Foreign Minister said. Informed the Nigerian informed the Niger president of her country's adherence to the international community's participation in the great negotiation, pointing to the collapse of confidence in the Ethiopian government. The Sudanese foreign minister Miriam Al-Mahdi held talks in Niamey, ending a tour of West African countries that she started on May 27, including Ghana, Senegal, Nigeria, to explain Sudan's negotiation position on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERD. Al-Mahdi told Niger's President Mohamed Bazoum that Sudan was seriously affected by the first filling of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which caused a rift in the wall of confidence. Read a statement issued by the minister after the meeting. She pointed out that this situation requires reaching an agreement under the auspices of the African Union, with the participation of international partners as guarantors of the agreement. Ethiopia refuses to sign a binding agreement on the GERD filling and operation, claiming that it would prevent the upstream country from using the Blue Nile water or establishing development projects. Instead, Addis Ababa proposed to sign a guideline protocol, or to include a water sharing deal in the agreement, breaching the 2015 Declaration of Principles. To break the deadlock, Khartoum proposed to establish a mediation headed by the African Union, involving the European Union, the United Nations, and the United States. According to the statement, the Sudanese top diplomat extensively briefed the president of Niger about the GERD issue and Ethiopia. The statement said that the minister explained in detail to President of Niger the issue of Renaissance Dam, recent developments, and Ethiopia's stubbornness on the second filling of the dam lake without a binding legal agreement with the downstream countries governing filling and operation processes. Sudan says unilateral filling of the GERD reservoir threaten power generation from its two dams on the Blue Nile, the safety of reservoir dam, and of 20 million Sudanese. President Bazoum, according to the statement, expressed his understanding of the Sudanese position, pointing to the experience of the Niger River, which is the third longest river in Africa after the Nile and Congo rivers. The transboundary river is managed by the Niger Basin Authority, a multilateral body involving Benin, Guinea, Mali, Niger, and Nigeria. Credit for this one is Sudan Tribune. So that is the Sudanese side, traveling around the West African countries, Senegal, Ghana, Niger, explaining their position and telling them, those leaders about the position of Ethiopia, stubbornness, refusal to sign agreement. That's a diplomatic pressure. So how much they will be successful, we're gonna see. So they want, Sudan want the involvement of European Union, United Nations, and the United States. Ethiopia refused this expansion of mediators. They say, we don't want to deal with it. We deal with African Union, Egypt, and Sudan. We don't want United Nations. We don't want European Union. We don't want the United States. So no negotiation started, and Ethiopia determined to fill it up, to continue its second phase filling, maybe next month, according to the plan. We don't know. Okay. U.S. spying claim roil Europe. Countries demand answer over Danish cable espionage. France, Germany, and other European countries demanded answer Monday following reports that United States spied on its allies using Danish underwater cable, as question mounted over whether Denmark knew about the operation. In an investigative report on Sunday, Danish public broadcaster Denmark Radio and other European media outlets said the United States National Security Agency, or NSA, had eavesdropped on Danish underwater internet cables from 2012 and 2014 to spy on top politicians in France, Germany, Norway, and Sweden. It's already too long. I don't know why they worry. 2012, 2014. Almost like how many years? 7 years? That is so still an issue. The National Security Agency got access to text messages, telephone calls, and internet traffic, including search, chats, and messaging service, including those of Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel, then Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier, and then opposition leader Pierre Steinbrück. French President Emmanuel Macron and Merkel said Monday they expected explanation from both Washington and Copenhagen. This is not acceptable between allies, and even less between allies and European partners, said Macron after the two leaders talked via video conference. There is no room for suspicion, said Macron, as he stressed the value of the ties between Europeans and Americans. That is why we are waiting for complete clarity from both Denmark and the United States, he added. Merkel said she could only agree with Macron's comment, adding she was reassured by Danish Defense Minister Trine Bramsen's condemnation of any such spying. Bramsen, who took over the defense portfolio in June 2019, has neither confirmed nor denied Denmark radio report, but told AFP that systematic eavesdropping of close allies is unacceptable. Denmark's neighbors also demanded explanation. It is unacceptable if countries which have close allies cooperation feel the need to spy on one another, Norway Prime Minister Erna Solberg told public broadcaster NRK. She said Norway had asked Denmark for all the information they have. Swedish Defense Minister Peter Hultqvist said he had been in contact with Denmark's defense minister to ask if Danish platforms have been used to spy on Swedish politicians. Credit for this news, Agence France Presse. So this is a spying issue, and it's a very serious, in general, countries listen to each other secretly, but with a great, sensitivity. So now this media reported the United States is spying on European unions. This is a big deal, especially between friends. So they want to make sure it didn't happen. They need more explanation from Denmark. So I hope it will resolve easily. So we don't want animosity between the United States and our friends in Europe. It should be settled, and so those Denmark officials should explain what happened. Is there really a spy, or is just a media propaganda? So they have to find out and explain to French officials, German officials, Sweden, whoever think they got spied 2012, 2014. Even though the timing is a little bit longer, but the issue is, did it happen? They want to find out. Okay, the last reading for today's news is this one. Israel opposition party strike coalition deal, paving the way for Netanyahu exit. A coalition of Israeli political parties announced Wednesday night they had agreed to a deal to form a new government, paving the way for the exit of Israeli long-serving Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Yair Lapid, leader of the centrist Yesh Atid party, notified Israel President Reuven Rivlin that he had managed to cobble together a coalition just 38 minutes before the midnight deadline. In a statement, Lapid said the government will work to serve all citizens of Israel, including those who are not members of it, will respect those who oppose it, and do everything in its power to unite all parties of Israel and society. The coalition agreement must now pass a vote of confidence in the Knesset, Israeli parliament, before a new government and the prime minister are sworn in. Israelis have gone to the polls 4 times over the past 2 years as election after election failed to break the political deadlock. If Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu successfully ousted with this coalition, he might be subjected to serious legal challenges in the new government court proceedings and other changes on the cases he has been accused of bribery, fraud, and breach of trust charges. He is also responsible for Palestinians perished in the Gaza, West Bank, and other areas, and for the destruction of Palestinian homes, businesses, and other belongings for all the years he has been in power. Hopefully, justice will prevail one day for them in the future. Credit CNN. So I hope Netanyahu will be forced to retire through this collusion. He is extremely very dangerous guy. Never satisfied with the bloodshed and the destruction for, in that region. Even though the others also may have the same attitude toward the Palestinians, but I never seen the guy like this. Very aggressive. He wanna take over all the Palestinian lands. He wanna kill them. He tried. He created chaos and destruction, and caused a lot of loss of life in that region. So I hope he will be persecuted, charged. It's already charged. It's on the trial. So he played with his power. Now, if he loses power, I hope the new government will put the right people to try him for his crime, for a bribe and fraud, and plus maybe in the international court for the Palestinian bloods and all the property destruction he caused in that region. So that's the reading part. Thank you again. I have some videos to share with you, then conclude today's presentation. There we go. The first one is about the 6-day, it's a 1-minute video, 6-day combined military exercise between Sudan and Egypt. I don't know what they try to do, but they are practicing, exercising, getting ready to do something. We don't know their plan, but this is talking about that one. So let's listen.
Egypt and Sudan wrapped up 6 days of war games on Monday, held against a backdrop of rising tension with Ethiopia. For the past week, members of the Sudanese and Egyptian armed forces took part in the Guardians of the Nile joint military drill in Sudan's southern Kordofan state. Military maneuvers, which were intended to upgrade joint capabilities and enhance harmony between the two countries. The military exercise, Egyptian Chief of Staff General Mohammed Farid says is being conducted amidst challenges and threats and the possibility of their escalation. Whilst Chief of Staff from the two countries made no direct mention of Ethiopia in their comments, they made it clear that the drills were meant to send a message to Addis Ababa that they were ready to intervene militarily against the dam if needed. Both Cairo and Khartoum have on multiple occasions expressed their concern in the past, stating that the Renaissance Dam will reduce their share of the river's water and severely damage their economies.
Okay, this is
When I
about the
look back
United
at
States.
2020, I think of one of the most challenging years the United States has ever had to deal with the entire world watching. We had to deal with enduring pain,
George
race-based
Floyd
violence,
and
as well as ongoing
protests.
discrimination. And in the midst of the storm, we decided to collectively rise, advocating for universal human rights, racial equality, and sustainable peace for a better tomorrow.
The global racial justice protests in 2020 made me realize that the fight for racial justice is unified across borders, languages, and cultures.
As one people, we have a responsibility to address racial injustice and not stay silent when it doesn't directly impact or is too close to our lives. We have a powerful voice. Let's use it for lives dependent.
The global racial justice protests made me question my critical thinking and made me realize realize that the power of people uniting will always outweigh every act of aggression, hate, and violence.
The global racial justice protests of 2020 made me realize how far we have to come in this country to realize the vision of our founding documents that all men are created equal.
What we do in protest may not end racism, but it will end the arc of this.
We need to focus on what the challenges are, what the solutions are, and get after it.
We should all be treated fairly and equally, despite our gender, race, age, or anything else.
I'm determined to harness that global solidarity to advance racial justice everywhere and leave our children with a less hateful, more hopeful world.
For the United States to be a credible force for human rights around the world, we have to face the realities of racism and hatred here at home. We can't sweep our shortcomings under the rug or pretend they don't exist. We need to face them openly and honestly, even if that's ugly, even if that's painful. That's how we live up to our values, and how we're able to effectively stand up for them worldwide. Today and always, let's commit to accountability, healing, and doing the concrete work of advancing equity and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. That's from U.S. State Department.
Do you recall, not long ago, we would walk on the sidewalk all around.
We're going to begin tonight with the coronavirus here in the U.S. President Biden now declaring June a national month of action. He wants at least 70% of adults with at least one dose of the vaccine by the 4th of July. The president said that goal will help bring, quote, an all-American summer that this country deserves after a long, dark winter that we've all endured. Nationwide tonight, 168 million people have received at least one dose of the vaccine, about 60% of everyone 12 years and older now. Again, he wants to hit 70% of adults getting at least one shot. 12 states have already met that 70% goal, Vermont and Hawaii above 80%. But 6 states still have less than 50% of adults with at least one dose. The president announcing new help today, free childcare in some communities while parents get vaccinated, to a promise of free beer tonight. And of course, the states with vaccination lotteries now millions of dollars up for grabs. ABC's Stephanie Ramos leading us off right here in New York tonight.
In a push to get more Americans vaccinated, President Biden today announcing a national month of action to help the country reach his goal, 70% of adults with at least one dose by the 4th of July.
America's headed into a summer dramatically different from last year's summer. A summer of freedom, a summer of joy, a summer of get-togethers and celebrations.
The president unveiling new incentives like free childcare at major daycare chains and some YMCAs while parents get the vaccine or recover from it. Overnight hours at pharmacies on Friday nights in June. The White House teaming up with Black-owned barbershops and beauty salons to reach more Americans and touting a blitz of new rewards like free sporting tickets and, if the country reaches the president's goal, free beer from Anheuser-Busch.
Get a shot and have a beer. Free beer for everyone 21 years or over to celebrate the independence from the virus.
12 states have already met the president's goal, but another 6 states have yet to even reach half of their adult population with one shot. Deaths from COVID are now averaging 383 a day, but the president warns they are not falling in places where vaccinations are lagging.
If you're thinking that the side effects from the shot are worse than the COVID, or that you can't just take a chance, you're just dead wrong.
This hospital in Louisville, Kentucky is still caring for COVID patients.
We are still seeing COVID patients that are very, very ill, but those patients that we're seeing are unvaccinated, and unfortunately, some of the patients that we're seeing are younger, more in the age range of the 40s to 50s.
And experts warn variants like the ones from the UK and India are still a threat.
We do have these variants that are spreading, and there's a couple that are particularly contagious. So it's a particularly dangerous time to be unvaccinated at this moment.
Tonight, the president urging Americans to pull together and get the vaccine.
We need everyone across the country to pull together to get us over the finish line. I promise you, we can do this.
The all-out effort tonight. Stephanie with us again this evening. And Steph, Dr. Fauci making news late today talking about those states where the vaccination numbers are considerably lower than the national average. And his concern as we now head toward the 4th.
Yes, David, Dr. Fauci says what he doesn't want to see are many little outbreaks in those areas as the U.S. pulls back prematurely. He says the answer is to get those people vaccinated as quickly and effectively as possible. The White House today launching a new website with a list of the incentives, vaccines.gov/incentives.html. You can see all of the rewards there. And this barbershop behind me actually jumping in on those rewards, offering free haircuts to those who have recently been vaccinated. David.
Yes, so many people helping out with haircuts, childcare during the vaccination process, and free beer tonight. So thank you, Stephanie, for reporting on that.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts.
Okay, thank you, ABC, for that reporting. So it's interesting. It's encouraging to have a better leadership, and we have leaders in the White House who are encouraging citizens to do everything, getting shot for COVID-19, doing all other proper guidelines, face masking, social distancing. Now all this created a better atmosphere, a healthy atmosphere for all of us. Now people are open up. The death toll is down, very down, and the infection rate is down, but still it's not over yet. So the incentives, the free beer, the free ticket, free haircut, all these are, coming from the good leadership, very good leadership, including the State Department statement on racial justice, equality, caring about all Americans. So that's why we are fighting, that's why we are advocating in Ethiopia too. Leadership make big, huge difference. That's why we are looking for a different leadership than Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, because he is failed Ethiopians. He failed the whole country. Command post everywhere, bloodshed everywhere, economic collapse, isolated country, and no love between different ethnic group in that country. That's why we need a different kind of leadership. His first appearance was good. Now that all gone. He is not a messiah anymore. He is not handled. He is like somebody bloodthirsty, wanna kill all for power, to stay in power. I don't know why he need all this. He could have been retired with dignity, respect, and work somewhere, make a lot of money in United Nations or European countries or in African Union. He can work with that kind of, with the initial, I'm not talking about now, initial talent, with the acceptance, with the global acceptance he got at that time. So he listened to the dictator in Eritrea, everything twisted. He listened to those want to, celebrate the retaking of the land from Tigray region, but they are losing the big picture. Ethiopia is in chaos, in destruction. They didn't see that picture. So they clapped their hand, they supported him, they put him in, to do whatever they're bidding. Now trouble everywhere, killing everywhere, unaccountability growing, and taking citizens' property, freezing business or bank account just by naming you are a terrorist without due process, just by naming you. So that's why we need a change of leadership. That's why concerned citizens media is keep asking for the removal of this guy, for the resignation of this guy, and have a dialogue with all stakeholders for a better leadership in that country, the leadership that can end all this war, all this conflict, and probably save the country's unity, create a better atmosphere. Now that country is going in a bad direction, very bad direction. Benishangul is in a big crisis. Tigray war is still continue. War in Oromia, have been like that for 3 years. Now is expanding in a very bad ways, including the Eritreans fighting there. And now the Prime Minister is taking money, property from his own citizens because he is not getting financial aid from outside. He want to survive on that one temporarily. It might work for him now, but it's a temporary fix. And instead of fixing the bigger picture, he is just using his own citizens' money, robbing them. That is illegal, that's inhumane, but they don't care. These people, they shoot people in public, they don't care. They don't scare of anybody. They keep doing that, and the Ethiopians are so far silent, especially the Amaras, because they are happy what he's doing. They are out of trouble. They have their land, even though the Sudanese are coming and knocking at their door. They don't care. They are silent. And the situation is very bad, and we are creating a dictator for maybe 10 or 15 years or 20 years, we don't know, unless you separate the unity of Eritrean dictator and the Ethiopian dictator. He is teaching him how to crush opposition, how to jail opposition. So we are in a very tough situation. We will keep advocating for change, and you should too. And that's all I have for today. I will be back with other news and videos and concerned citizens' comments on issues affecting our citizens back home. Really, we need a change of leadership. That's why we are getting out of the wood in the United States, out of the COVID. No joking. We don't have a leader which tells you to try bleach, inject with bleach, or joking and threatening scientists from saying their minds. We don't have that kind of leadership. We have a serious leadership who is for all Americans. That is a very big difference. We need something like that in Ethiopia, and we Ethiopians and all, ignoring temporary fix, ignoring temporary benefit, we should work together for the better of that country. Thank you. I appreciate your time, for sharing your time with Concerned Citizens Media. Comment on it, share with family and friends, so we can be the voice for the voiceless, so we can spread, we can defend freedom, justice, equality for Ethiopians and for all. So long, everyone.